All right, so let's talk about Superman and what that movie kind of looked like for me. For me, I thought the movie was kind of mid. I liked it, but kind of underwhelming as a just kind of as a superhero film. And I have some notes that I kind of wrote of what I liked about Superman. I'm gonna say this, like the actor, David Corn Sweat, I think that's his name. I'm probably saying his name wrong. I think he played a fantastic Superman. Like the Superman itself, the character, I thought he was great. Um, I don't think he got a really good script in this movie, like a really good, well-written story. But was he Superman? Did I like him as Superman? Absolutely. I thought he was a really good Superman. And I do like him better than Henry Cavill as Superman because, he's young. This is a year three Superman. And I'm glad that the film itself, like, kind of just gave you the context, kind of like a Spider-Man, not Spider-Man, Star Wars kind of vibe with the story. Kind of giving you context of what the universe is like. What do we expect from DC in this extended universe? The chemistry between Lois and Clark was really well done. I think that dynamic was great. I think my favorite parts of the film is when like Clark is being vulnerable with Lois, and they're actually arguing. You really see like the human side of Superman. Being the fact that he's an alien and he's this all-powerful being, but he has emotions and he can be vulnerable and he sees things the way like he was kind of raised to. Um, what else did I like? And I really wish we got more Clark Kent in this film. We got a lot of uh Superman, but we didn't really get a lot of Clark Kent, which is unfortunate because like DC stands for Detective Comics, if anybody didn't know. And so part of like Detective Comics is, solving the mystery, what's the problem? And I really wish we got like journalist Clark Kent and kind of like Lois Lane. Kind of like in the animated show that HBO did with My Adventures with Superman. I like that's really well done as far as showing the Lois and Clark dynamic. And I really wish we got more of that. Um, what else did I like in my notes? Oh, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. That comic book accurate. That was well done. I know a lot of people were hating on the haircut, but that's just the haircut in the comics. That's what he looks like. They got the character well written, well done. I think James Gunn knows how to write his friends in movies very well. Um, what else? Got this magic all over me. Um, Mr. Terrific. He was, to me, he was my favorite part of the film. His scenes were well written. His fighting with the T spheres, fantastic. Um, it was just overall well done with Mr. Terrific. Very comic book accurate. I like how serious he was with a little bit of humor. They really got him down, and I hope we do get more Mr. Terrific. Um, yeah, I really wish we got more Mr. Terrific, or hopefully we get more in future projects because he was well done. Maybe we do a Terrifics show, the Terrifics. I kind of have that comic book series. It's definitely worth a buy. I don't know if I have it on my shelf with me. I tried looking for it on my shelf, but I couldn't find that comic book. But it's very well done. Um, what else? Mm, oh, Metamorpho. They added him, Element Man. Thought he was well done. I really wish he kind of had more of a introduction, like when you see in the movie, the way he gets displayed and shown and captured or whatnot. We don't really get to see how. Like, how does Lex know he exists or whatnot? I really wish we got more of him, but he was really he was well done. I liked him. I felt conflicted because he is a conflicted character, but he is a hero, so I think he was well done. And Hawk Girl too, but I can't really judge Hawk Girl all too much because I don't know of what we got of Hawk Girl. I don't even know what version of Hawk Girl we got because for those of you who are into comics and know about Hawk Girl's origin story, depending on the writer, there's two versions of Hawk Girl that you see. Um, the one that you kind of see is the Thanagarian one, where she's from the planet Thanagar, where a bunch of other Thanagarians have, wings and they're like an actual alien power race. I don't want to say not like Marvel's Knolls or Skrulls, but they are beings in another planet, and they are kind of feared, especially that they are powerful and they have nth metal for their armor and weapons, and wings too. And then you have the other version where you have Hawk Girl who's Egyptian and kind of sort of like cursed for eternity that they have to find their love, Hawk Girl and Hawkman. So I just don't know which version of Hawk Girl we're getting. And I wish we got a little bit more. We got, Guy Gardner got to develop in this film. Mr. Terrific got to develop in this film. But Hawk Girl, she was just Hawk Girl. She just flew, swung a mace, screamed, and that was it. Nothing too spectacular. What else? Crypto was really great as a dog. I think James Gunn knows how to, I guess, write animals well, being the fact he had Rocket Raccoon. Yeah, I really liked Crypto a lot. I think he was, yeah, he wasn't too much to me. Maybe until the end when he starts ragdogging Lex, like Hulk did. He kind of did what Hulk did to Loki, but instead of Hulk Loki, it was Crypto and Lex. But and the fight scenes were pretty good. CGI was sometimes, but like whatever. I give CGI pass for the most part. The fights were well done. I really liked the fights. Again, for me, Mr. Terrific stole the show. I really enjoy Mr. Terrific a lot. He was my favorite part of the movie, and I wish we got more, and I hope we do get more projects of him. But this story, it was messy. It was all over the place. Lex trying to do one thing, Lois trying to do one thing, Clark trying to do one thing, Jimmy trying to do one thing. There's a lot of characters, and usually James Gunn knows how to handle a cast as large, but like at least with the Guardians, you had like just 5, and they were for the most part all grouped together, and each character had their moment to shine. But man, everything was kind of like all over the place, and like the storylines felt kind of dragged on. Things were underdeveloped, and we should have focused on more things. Kind of like Lex Luthor's motivations, that kind of just gets spoiled for you. That it doesn't really get to develop, and I wish we got to see why Lex hates Superman. My version of Lex, the way I understand Lex, is that like Lex has a god complex. He can't be outshined. He is a narcissist, and he's kind of the antithesis of Superman. Like Superman is willing to help people, and he's got all this power, but he doesn't overdo it. Lex has power too in wealth and finance and influence, and he's cunning, but he's selfish and he doesn't care about people. And if he does anything for people, it's only for himself, and it's not for other people. And the acting was a little bit over the top, but besides the story, not in my opinion, not being well written, there is a lot of things just plot convenience too. This goes back to being overwritten. Like, oh, where's Superman? He's been kidnapped. Where do I find him? Oh, Jimmy just happens to know Lex Luthor's girlfriend who used to date, and the joke isn't funny, calling her mutant toes. We don't even get to see her toes. Like, let me at least see the toes to justify that they're mutant toes. Like, it wasn't funny. It just wasn't. It wasn't funny. It just wasn't at all. And yeah, What else? Also, Eve giving away the plans. I mean, she loves Lex, but or admires Lex, but is in love with Jimmy at the same time, and I don't get that. I didn't get the dynamic. And for me, I kind of wish instead of Eve, I think James Gunn would have done better choosing Mercy Graves from the Superman animated series. She's so like badass and cool as an assistant, always willing to kind of like do anything for Lex, and even being modified to serve what Lex Lee needs. Like besides being an assistant or limo driver, like she will out there and kill Lex's not Luke's Lex's enemies. What else? As far as antagonist goes, besides Lex, which I'll get to more in Lex, Ultraman and Engineer were cool. Now I didn't expect that version of Ultraman. Let me show you this comic that I have. It's a great series. It's called Forever Evil. And this Ultraman is from another Earth. And he's basically in that Earth, it's basically all the heroes, instead of being good, they're bad. So instead of Batman, I think you have like Owlman, and then you have like Ultraman, and all these different characters are evil. So instead of a good world, it's an evil world run by evil versions of the Justice League, which to me is a better story, but I think James Gunn didn't want to do a multiverse kind of thing. But the Ultraman that they chose was a clone of Superman, and I wish they chose the evil Earth 3 variant of Superman. All right, Lex Luthor. I liked Lex in the fact that he was serious. Um, yeah, he was serious. He was cunning. He was conniving. Um, but I had trouble believing that Nicholas Hoult was playing Lex Luthor. I know it's a young Lex Luthor. Like this is year three Superman. And we have I guess a year three Lex Luthor. I don't know how long he's been like CEO in this universe. So he is smart, ruthless, but man, he was whiny. And what really took me out of that film was Lex Luthor crying. Like Lex Luthor does not cry. Not he doesn't cry at all. And just watching him cry and not get away with what he did was um well, I just didn't feel like that was a well-written Lex Luthor. Was it much better than the Lex Luthor from Batman v Superman? Absolutely. But uh this Lex Luthor was just too emotionally reactive. He's a narcissist, and he does display emotions in the show, but in at least in the comics, but he's sort of for the most part maintained. Like he puts himself in positions where he frames Superman with bad PR, and it works so well because Lex is a businessman and he knows what public image looks like, which they did in the movie. But I think what makes it not work for me is just that he's just too whiny instead of like being calm. All like he just isn't calm. Like he does, they do great with the whole podcast narrative that he's on the podcast and he's like trying to spread the narrative, which is great. I think that's good. I think that really is well done. But again, too emotionally reactive instead of calm. His motivations aren't clear. Why he hates Superman all too much. Uh, and yeah, I just wish he didn't cry. I wish he was a little bit more serious. Felt like Nicholas Hoult was a little too try hard of Lex. And with Lex, you're supposed to be calm, collected, a narcissist, and you do, you can emotionally react with like anger, but man, he just felt whiny, just whiny. And I don't know if I want to see future Lex. Like I just don't want to see a future Lex like that in film. What else? Oh, he also got arrested, and Lex Luthor really just doesn't like serve punishment for any crimes that he does because he just has power, wealth, and influence. Um, So there's that. Anything else in my? I'm getting like teamed up by Spider-Man here and trying to give a Superman review. Um, yeah, I think in this film that was missing was like Clark Kent, the reporter, sticking to that whole detective side. Mm, and that's it. That's my review of Superman. It's an okay film at best. I don't think it's that good as critics and the audience score is, and not because I'm trying to hate on the film. I just think that there's a lot of plot convenience in the film. I don't think Lex's portrayal is truly Lex. Um, and I think just the story's a little bit all over the place, and there's just too many people. You know, like this Superman film. They say it's a solo Superman film, but man, you have the whole Justice Gang in there, and it's just a little overwhelming. And at least like Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, like they didn't like steal the movie per se. I think Mr. Terrific did, but he did great, and Guy Gardner too. But there was a lot of things happening with Lois, with Jimmy, with Lex, and Lex being oh, forgot it. Lex being dependent on his workers was kind of weird because Lex uses people, but he's gonna make sure to put himself in a position where he can't get framed, or he makes sure the loopholes are closed. Like no one can trace it back to him. Like whatever crimes he commits, he makes sure to not get caught. And the fact that he's telling all these people how to beat Superman in a fight and kind of like just putting himself in a position where he's gonna, if any of these people get caught, he's done. They'll just rat him out. And to think that he's got 20 to 30 people around his desk cheering for Superman's downfall is just weird. And it's not Lex. He's not really dependent on people. His strengths are being smart, cunning, and his PR, making situations look bad for Superman while elevating himself. And we don't really see that in this film. So I enjoyed these characters. Well, I think they were done very well in the sense that kind of comic book accurate, like Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, and Guy Gardner, and Superman. And I think Superman is himself well done, but it's just overall lacking in story. I think Superman doesn't really get much character development, and I think James Gunn misunderstands the. I don't want to say he misunderstands the character, but I think when you go watch the film, and there's a scene at the beginning of the film where he receives this message from his biological parents, Jor-El, and it's like telling him, hey, like you sent you to Earth, help Earth, blah, 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 and there's a twist to that, but it's like the robots say, oh, it soothes him, and it's like, and it helps him. It comes off as a mantra, like he needs a mantra to be this hero, and it's just like, no, the reason why Superman is kind and humble and saves people is how his adoptive parents raised him. Like, and that's why it's so important, Jonathan Kent, Martha Kent, who raised him, because if the government had founded Superman as a baby, you don't really get that Superman that is kind, caring, compassionate. You get a person who is going to, like, work for the U.S. government and maybe possibly conquer the world. And that kindness that Martha and Jonathan Kent kind of put onto Superman and raise him as Clark is something that should be highlighted more in the film. It does get highlighted in the film, and that should be Clark's motivation to do good. Like, Clark can make mistakes. Like, yeah, probably invading another country without like consent is probably not great, but at least like he's trying to do the right thing, not because it's like his parents gave him this messiah complex, but that he was raised to care about people, to show the same kindness that Jonathan and Martha Kent, his adoptive parents, did. And I just don't think that the film really highlights that too much. It does get highlighted a little bit when Superman gets, freed and rescued, but that should be Superman's motivation to do good. Not his biological parents. His biological parents only serve as like, hey, remember, like we messed up in Krypton, but like the whole narrative about Krypton is completely changed. So if you're looking for that same beat by beat comic book story of Krypton and who Superman's parents are, you won't get that, and which is a shame because Superman's motivation also for doing good on Earth is that Earth is his adoptive home. Like, he doesn't have Krypton. He doesn't have a culture. He doesn't have a civilization to, keep him together. The only people he has in his life that are Kryptonian is just his cousin, at least that we know in this universe. And I think it's just really disappointing that like that's the origin story that they chose for Krypton, which again you'll see in this film. But that should be like Clark's motivation from his parents is let me protect Earth because Earth is my adoptive home, not let me be kind because of the message my parents gave me, my biological parents. Superman's kindness, humility, ability to serve others and see the best in humanity is because of his adoptive parents, not his biological parents. And that's why I think the story kind of misses out on some of the key aspects of Superman. So I don't want to say that James Gunn doesn't get Superman, but I really think he didn't understand Superman's motivations, and they really make him as this messiah complex, which does work well with the Lois and Clark conversation that they have, which is, I will say, my two favorite scenes is the fight between Lois and Clark, actual raw conversation between the two. And at times I'm thinking like, man, is Clark gonna blow up? Is he gonna be like, is he gonna get violent? Is he gonna get upset? Um, and Mr. Terrific, I think Mr. Terrific was just the best parts. Oh, and one more. I think the conversation between Jonathan Kent and Martha Kent. I think that was well done. Other than that, the film's okay. Kind of cheesy, kind of mid. Is this the best Superman since Man of Steel? I don't know. I have to rewatch Man of Steel. It's an honest movie. It's a 3 out of 5 for me. It's a good start to the DC universe, but overall, financially and critic-wise, but for me, who loves comics, who collects comics, and I don't need everything to be a beat by beat to the comics. Again, watch the animated show My Adventures with Superman. They also changed the Krypton origin story, making Krypton like an empire. But Superman has a core group of friends who keep him accountable. He has his family that keeps him accountable, and kind of helps him get through life. And I think that show really does Superman pretty well. It's just a shame we couldn't get that style of Superman onto the big screen, but it's an honest movie. It was okay. Would I probably watch it again? Nah, I'm not gonna watch this film again. There's rarely any superhero films I like to watch again. I think for me, it'd probably be the Batman, um, Endgame, and Winter Soldier. Captain America, Winter Soldier. Those for me are the most watchable, rewatchable films. So, yeah, it's an honest movie. 3 out of 5. Most people will probably enjoy it. I think kids will probably enjoy Crypto. He's done well, and that's that. So you can let me know what you think.